Lee walked down the stairs and addressed his platoon, shouting, "Raid squad, line up in a double file line." Following Lee's orders, the platoon members quickly gathered together and organized themselves into 2 lines. Lee approached Catherine, but before he could get a word off, Catherine demanded that he start explaining what happened inside the dungeon and why they couldn't bring back a single Blue Flower Guild member. Lee explained that when they entered the gate it was already too late. Catherine asked if Lee was trying to say that him and his ragtag team of soldiers succeeded where an elite team of Blue Flower Guild members didn't. Annoyed, Lee told her that the fact that they are here should be proof of that. However, Catherine still couldn't accept this. She raised her voice asking how any of this could make sense. Lee reminded her that she can confirm whether or not he is telling the truth by checking the analysis results when it comes out later. Catherine became even more suspicious of Lee and she started asking him questions. She asked for his true identity and if he truly is an F rank. Lee ignored her and instead addressed a comment she made earlier. He asked her if she still believed that all of his achievements was because of luck. Catherine commented that as of now there is no way to tell whether Lee's platoon really raided the gate, so she will decide after seeing the analysis results. But before the results come out, she has something she wanted to discuss with Lee. She leaned in and asked if Lee had seen the spear item inside the gate. She was certain that either one of the zombified Blue Flower Guild members had it, or it was in the dungeon treasure house. Lee's face went blank back when they were still inside the gate, as Lee was ordering his platoon members to exit the falling castle. He grabbed the spear, and using the skill Secret Tattoo, he was able to turn the spear into a tattoo on his left arm. Lee lied to Catherine saying he didn't see the spear. Catherine shouted that can't be possible. The spear should definitely be in the gate. Lee chuckled, saying the fact that Catherine is changing the topic must mean she is trying to avoid talking about their bet earlier. He asked if the great department head of the Soul Attack Squad's Blue Flower Guild is trying to go back on her word. Catherine lowered her hands to her side and she clenched her fist. She seemed to want to say something but couldn't. Lee stared at her disappointedly, and Catherine gritted her teeth. Lee turned away from her, saying he will come back later to talk about their bet. Catherine quickly grabbed his left arm, asking him to wait. She asked him to join the Blue Flower Guild, and if he does, she can guarantee that he will receive the best treatment in the industry. Lee grabbed his shoulder, covering where his uniform ripped so she wouldn't see the tattoo of the spear. He instantly knew that she was trying to get him to slave away under her for the Blue Flower Guild, and that wasn't interesting to him in the slightest. Luckily, he didn't have to answer because it was then announced that the 3rd Amp Brigadier General was coming. A portal connecting to the military appeared, and Choi stepped through. Lee saluted Choi. Choi started laughing, but his cheerfulness quickly disappeared when he noticed Catherine holding onto Lee's arm. He shot her a menacing look, and Catherine quickly let go of Lee. Choi teased her, asking if she is trying to take a key soldier of the military when he hasn't even been discharged yet. Catherine assured Choi that she wasn't, and that she was just making a recommendation. Noticing the army of Blue Flower Guild members behind her, Choi asked if the Blue Flower Guild disobeyed the rules and prepared a separate team to raid the gate again. Catherine couldn't deny this as the evidence was right behind her, and Choi pressed on, pointing out the matter with the Gu Guang group. He stated that in many ways, the Blue Flower Guild has crossed the line many times during this Red Gate, and he will be filing an official complaint about this to the Blue Flower Guild Master. Aside from that, Choi threatened to send the official documents regarding this Red Gate to all the other guilds. Again, Catherine dropped her hands to her side, and she clenched her fists so hard they started bleeding. Sometime later, inside Choi's office, we see Choi laughing and clapping. He was in a cheerful mood because the analysis results came out, and it turned out that Lee and his platoon were fully credited for the raid. Choi expected something amazing based on Lee's track record, but never would have he had guessed that Lee would bring a perfect score. The thought of seeing the look on the Blue Flower Guild Master's face made him burst out into an uncontrollable laughter. Lee was glad that his achievement allowed Choi to screw over the Blue Flower Guild Master, and a short while later, after calming himself, Choi addressed Lee. In his entire life, this is his first time seeing something like this, Lee interjected, crediting his platoon members. Then he tried to bring up the promise Choi made to him before he entered the gate. However, Choi interrupted, complimenting Lee's personality. He decided to have Lee's platoon be promoted by 1 rank and to give Lee a chance for a rank re-evaluation. Lee started to get annoyed that Choi was avoiding the topic whenever he brought up the promise. He thanked Choi for promoting his entire platoon and for giving him a chance for a rank re-evaluation, and he added that he is especially thankful for the promised rewards. Choi turned away, and as he asked Lee what he wanted, he hoped that Lee wouldn't choose his divine phantasm. With a smile, Lee asked him to provide his entire platoon with weapons with divine powers. This confused Choi. They finished raiding the zombie gate, so he pondered why Lee would waste such an opportunity by asking for weapons with divine power. Somewhere else, a soldier came running to Sanguk with big news. He explained that the support squad raided the 53rd Red Gate themselves. Sanguk asked the soldier to stop speaking nonsense, however the soldier expressed that he was being serious. He added that Lee even got a scouting offer from the Blue Flower Guild. Sanguk was surprised, and one of the soldiers who was with him asked if this doesn't make Lee superior to Sergeant Choi Young-hoon. Annoyed, Sanguk comments that when Sergeant Choi Young-hoon returns from his deployment, there's going to have to be a match to decide who the ace is. Somewhere else, Minnie and Taeyong were trying to hide away from all the attention they had been getting recently. They found this quite burdensome, as in the past people always ignored them. Minnie comments that he couldn't get used to all the attention, and Taeyong agreed. Then he turned Minnie's attention to Junmo, who was busy talking to some girls, questioning how he was able to get used to their new treatment so quickly. Junmo was passionately telling the girls about the heroism of Lee during the raid. The girls found the story amusing for a while, but they quickly got curious as to how they were able to get so strong so quickly. Junmo chuckled, and he whispered to them saying it's all thanks to Lee's special training. Inside the sleeping quarters, we see Lee, with his back facing the door, trying to eat the golden crown he got from the zombie king's corpse. Suddenly Won-suk entered the room. He saluted Lee, and stated that he was here because he had something to discuss with him. Won-suk dropped to his knees and begged Lee to forgive his previous actions. Lee felt slightly annoyed. He thought to himself, questioning why someone always interrupts when he was trying to devour something in secret. Because Lee's back was still facing the door, Won-suk guessed that Lee must be holding a grudge because of how him and Sanguk treated him in the past. He told Lee that he understands why Lee wouldn't even look at him. However, if Lee could look past his discourteous behavior just once and train him, he will never forget his kindness. Lee quickly finished devouring the crown, and a prompt from the system appeared. Lee is now digesting the crown of light and darkness. In vivo furnace efficiency was at 150%, and there were 25 hours left until the metal was fully absorbed. Lee stared at the interface and thought about what Won-suk just said. He tried recalling his previous life, but he couldn't remember any noteworthy memories about Won-suk at all. However, even if Won-suk didn't accomplish much in his previous life, now's not the time for him to be picky about allies, as the Soul Wave was about to start. He knows for a fact that he wouldn't be able to save most of the military squad members, and as he approached Won-suk, he thought about how helpful Won-suk would be in combat. He came to the realization that training Won-suk would help him save more lives. So he decided to train Won-suk, which made Won-suk very happy. With a menacing look, he told Won-suk to get ready to die, and the smile on Won-suk's face quickly disappeared as Lee dragged him away to go train. The scene then shifts to inside the Red Gate, where the vampire stood ominously. A red gate started appearing behind him, and through it a man that dwarfed him stepped through. The giant man, who was also a vampire, asked the vampire if he knew how many items they lost because of his stupidity. He pondered how he could fuck up such a simple task. The vampire lowered his head and apologized, and before the giant man could speak, a lady in a suit stepped through the gate, shocking them. The lady asked the vampire to be grateful, as they would have left him to rot inside the Red Gate. However, the vampire has been summoned. She licks her lips, exposing her fangs, and in an eerie tone she says blood will flow in the entire soul region. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then watch another one. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.